Hello, hola, bonjour. Welcome to Your Story Matter podcast. I'm your host, Angie Olivo, and we are here to inspire sustainability and change by creating with purpose. And today's episode is 2021 Decolonization of Everything. I go deeper into the article, but it really is that we have to start with the indigenous framework, centering of indigenous land, right? To recognize that we are in a land that, it belongs to them, right? Indigenous sovereignty and indigenous way of thinking. And I think that would be sort of like a way to help them amplify their voices as well, because they're always on the front line trying to help, trying to save natural resources, all these pipelines, all these things that these capitalist bigots are doing, and it's not good for us, because the planet is going to be just fine. It's going to be fine. It's us that need to, work on. And this is something Indigenous has been saying, like, you have to respect the planet or it won't respect you. And obviously that's where we are now, right? Doesn't give a crap. You can either be rich or poor. Takes you with you. It's another thing. There's a lot of learning here in terms of being more compassionate, more empathetic, care more about other people, Oh boy, am I so happy for this impeachment. I don't know about you, but through work and all the things that's going on in the city, but don't think that this is the end. Do not. Now it's time to take care of our communities, take care of each other, and make sure that we don't stay silent. Because now we're going to get all that backlash, all the, white supremacies and races and doing all these things to keep us quiet and to continue their same crap that they were doing. Nah. Don't take none of that. We're not here for that. And Alright. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And have fun with it. Let's do this. That I keep saying, inequality, it's not sustainable. Racism, white supremacy, all these old system created by old white disgusting psychopath insanity people who are just rotten with greed and then just spread that everywhere. And
the reason why there is a huge difference between the results that people get from after taking the vaccine, and that's why it varies from different race. It matters by also sex. But these are all things where, that's what they keep saying, that, oh, no, the vaccine is not rushed, the vaccine is safe and all that stuff. But the thing is it goes more deeper than that. So I wanted to explain to you what mRNA is and what exactly is that these two vaccines are meant for, right? Or so it says on the studies and medical papers, right? It's not even medical, it's scientific paper, but this is where it gets a bit complicated, because even the scientific community has this racist bias and white supremacy that are constantly, we all have it. and it comes up whenever it can, right? Because this is something that you kind of have to work to let it go, right? And if you're putting a bunch of scientists who grew up this way, right? Especially they work in these companies where they have done a lot of atrocities for people of color, especially with their vaccines. So this is where the trust, it's not really there. But then again, you have now all these doctors and people of color like putting the vaccine out there, that it's okay, you know. It might work. That's the thing, is that it's really is the battle of the fittest. And they have created this vaccine this way, and that's why it's effective. That's why it works. They've done it this fast, right? It's because the mRNA has targeted different code genes, right? For example, the vaccine has a little bit of the COVID-19, right? The disease, and then it has the antidote, right? But also now the new scientific way is that they have used mRNA.
Okay, so I hope you remember in biology about messenger RNA. So basically, but this is also for people who don't have that privilege to go to school or didn't really understand how scientifically what is actually they have done in the vaccine. So I'm going to explain to you. So messenger RNA is already in our DNA. It's a single-stranded, it's called RNA molecule, that is complementary to one of the DNA strands of a gene, our gene, right? So then you have the mRNA, which is an RNA version of the gene that leaves the cell of the nucleus, right? And it moves to the cytoplasm where proteins are made. During protein synthesis, an organelle called a ribosome moves along the mRNA, reads its base sequence, and uses the genetic code to translate each 3 base triplet or codon into its corresponding amino acid. As you remember, DNA is made of amino acid, right? And these proteins are, it's what recognizes and what get function in our blood and get things going in our body, right? So again, mRNA is like a messenger. It's like created this like picture, right? Photo picture for our body to recognize, right? And again, one of these types of RNA, these messengers are found in our cells, right? And RNA is a particular one because it is made in the nucleus and then it's exported to the cytoplasm where there's a translation that happens, right? Which this is where it makes the proteins, then these bind to these mRNA molecules, and then it reads the code on the mRNA to make a specific protein. Okay? So in general, one gene, the DNA for one gene can be transcribed into an mRNA molecule that will end up making one specific protein. And this is where they have actually access the way to add the antidote. So whenever when the vaccine is injected, then it's much faster for your body to recognize it, right? Because it has properties that they have literally modified in mRNA. This wasn't done in a lot of years ago. They just started doing this. And then right away, as soon as the vaccine was released, and all of a sudden, a few days later, there's these 2 scientists, well, apparently 2 scientists have discovered this way of how to get it into the DNA code, have actually reached that deep, right? And I'm sure it's not just 2 scientists. I'm sure there's a lot of more scientists. But apparently these 2 women are the... Anyways, I'm going to still read more about it. I'm going to put the article where I found it. But
that too. The point is that the reason why we are saying that it's rush is because people of color, African descent, people who went through slavery, people who went through a lot of traumatic experiences, indigenous people, all the trauma and all the things that they went through, right? Asian communities as well. These are thousands of years of generational trauma and disease that we have endured and went through, right? Which is why is that for it will take much longer, right, to look at all these genes and look at all these disease, because we already have it inside of us. They're just not active. And the problem is that this vaccine, when it gets into our bloodstream, it activates them. So some people, that's why they're getting palsy, because they have that gene, but the vaccine, as soon as they get the vaccine, it turns on. But this is something that they know already. The people who created the vaccine, they know that they can turn off these genes right from the mRNA. They can look that if they took that extra time, because obviously, as usual, black people and all indigenous people don't fucking matter. So you can clearly see it on the scientific and medicine. And we've been putting this out there that medical, scientific also have racism and white supremacist bias. They all have it. And they're pretending that they don't, that they care, but they don't. And how did they know? Because that's why the extra time that they needed to take, because their research, their data, it's clearly created first. Their first is people who are white, people who who don't have any medical problems, people who, I don't know, came from the colonial time and, they are the one doing the atrocities, and indigenous people and black people saved them, helped them with medicine, natural medicine. Think about that. Let's talk about long time ago, right? Because we are descendants from our ancestors, right? Our ancestor generation, and that's all in our DNA. And that's what mRNA has too, right? And that's why when you get the vaccine, it recognizes it because you already have it in you, right? And it just has the COVID-19 and the antidote in it. So it's basically, the vaccine is for your body to recognize that it's trying to fight this disease that is outside of your body. So if it gets into your body, it's able to fight it, right? That's the whole point, which is great for people who don't have any mental disease or anything records. I mean, look at 100 and Me. If people will do their genes, look at what their disease and what they have from a long time ago, you can tell right away that if those genes are there, especially the ones that now you're hearing that people are getting after they take the vaccine, like palsy, these scientists, these pharmaceuticals, they know this. They can see it. They have everything. They have all the research and all their data. They just have to look, literally take. Yes, it takes money and time to go through the records of African descent, indigenous, all people of color, not just your white community, not just your white scientists, not just your white old people and stuff, and that's who I don't believe, when they say, oh, we check multiple people, phrase of color and stuff like that. But it wasn't enough. If you look at the percentages, how much they did the tests on them, it wasn't enough. And this is another thing where people who are African descent, people who are of color, this is why you need to check your genes first. See which one, really pay attention. Because if those genes, you have it, that you're seeing other people of our race getting, then that means that you most probably will have it activated. And most probably it won't. But that's another thing. If you don't have any of these things, if your family doesn't have any record of that, then you're fine. You could take this vaccine, But that's the thing. It really is the battle of the fittest. It's whoever gets it survives. Whoever gets it doesn't survive or gets permanent damage somewhere in our body forever. So this is a fucked up shit that they make us choose now. And now it's obligatory, right? Look at the US, how they acted. It wasn't just, Trump is just a puppet. Okay? He's a fucking piece of shit asshole. but he's a puppet, and because there's bigger forces on top of him. He's just a puppet and a distraction. A really good distraction, right? Because it creates this anger, anxiety, and this horrible feelings in us, right? But that's exactly what they want. This fear, this thing. And that too is that when now some people are looking at the news and looking at anti-vax and all these things, then we create this thing in our minds, right? And then when we go get the vaccine, it could even go way beyond what we think or not. And that's great, that having that mentality when you're going to take the vaccine, you're like, no, I'm not going to have anything. I'm going to be okay. And that's great. That's a great feeling. The only thing is that scientifically and in terms of already mRNA, they went that deep. You don't know. And they don't know. They do know. Because if they would have taken longer, they would have actually look it up and check, okay, in mRNA, these genes need to be close. Like, for example, palsy. There's a lot that they could be doing. This is why the vaccine is rushed, and they don't want you to think it was rushed, because they had to take that extra time, extra money to look it up, to turn off genes that could actually affect people of color. They could actually damage people of color. They could actually kill them. But this is where the white supremacists and racism comes in. They don't think that was good enough. So they didn't. And now the vaccine is great for whoever, healthy and non-color, people who didn't suffer any traumatic experiences. But whoever did, good luck with that. An agenda behind. There's always an agenda behind. And that's why also they're trying to make you not believe and no, don't be scared. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. We're in climate change crisis. We're in a climate crisis, which also that brought COVID-19. You can't dissociate these two in thinking that COVID-19 is human-made. Yes, it is human, and it's spreading because of human actions, because we can't control ourselves, right? We're greedy as fuck. We are fucked up in the head. We don't care about other people. We lost that. Empathy it's fucked, right? Democracy is being raped right now by the higher 1%. And we're just like, what do we do?
Like, it's pretty bad. Like, the vaccine they're fucking up the procedure where it's supposed to be one after 14 days and then the other one. If you fuck that up, it doesn't work. The people are completely not protected. And that's what they're doing here in Quebec. They are using... They just put the first vaccine and they're delaying actually the second doses. They're telling people that, it's going to be in 30 days. It's just they don't have it. They don't have it, or no, I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know what they're doing. All I know is that white supremacy and the racist people in here in Quebec, they're doing their work. They're fighting for this. They're not going with the same scientific law, the same things, the same procedures. And this is where I think we're going to have some kind of weird genocide in a way, a little bit here. Yeah. There's too much screw-ups and too many things pointing to that direction. It's because this is a city full of immigrants, full of people of color. And the majority of the population who benefit a lot from the inequality are kind of like, they just want to keep it that way. And they're fighting to their teeth to keep it that way. But it's not sustainable, and it's actually violent. This article is also for students, for people who are, not really sure what's going on in the education system. I go deeper into that, basically letting students know that what your education that it is now, it's a lie. And you have to have that self-taught mindset. And any parents or anybody who is listening to this, please don't just rely on the schools right now. Like, literally, teachers are going like crazy, right? don't rely on just administration because they're just teaching what they have been taught like years ago. Some of them are really old. They don't have time to update their studies or teaching and stuff like that. And new teachers now, when you coming out of like, just understand that, question, your administration, question everything, because remember, you are the beacon of the future. So it matters a lot what you say and teach and how you teach. Okay, especially during a world pandemic, which again is much easier to do online courses. But hey, we all have limited time here on this planet, and that's something that it's hard to accept because we're all struggling. I'm struggling, you are struggling, whoever's listening to this, somehow, so form in a world pandemic. This is affecting everyone in some form or another, whether you are rich, poor, and obviously inequality is a complete, it's what COVID-19 has been targeting, right? Poverty. And it's been showing us how, systems built with inequality are not sustainable. Not only for the planet, it's mostly for us. The way that these systems are built are completely just unhuman, really, and psychopathic and insane. And that's what it is. Our minds, our human beings are violent creatures, and thinking that we're not, and completely oblivion and thinking that that's not who we are, that's just creates more insanity, creates this pattern that it's now a normal thing. Another thing is that also we can't ignore what's going on in the US because it does affect everyone. That's what happened in Germany with Hitler. They completely ignore a coup, and then a few years later, there you go, World War II, and massacre and genocide happened. We can't really ignore that, what's going on in the US. And this is another thing where really inner work and decolonization needs to happen within each of us. It's not just most of us or some of us. And the thing is that it's also a privilege to do this work. And that's something that I'm having a really hard time, because even if I don't have privileges, I am still able to have a privilege of doing this. And I'm so grateful for it. And that's why because I do have that, why wouldn't I use it in order to help somebody who doesn't have this privilege, who doesn't have a home, or they're not evicted for being outside homeless. They're not, it's just, I think it's insane that we are completely using it's not my problem card in our pandemic. Any person that is thinking this way, your ignorance is violent. You need to, it's called compassion. This year is liberation and accountability and rebuilding and healing. And through all of that, because dismantling takes compassion. You cannot go through this pandemic without having compassion. It's just ridiculous. And if you're able to do it, then God bless you. All the best to you. I am in that journey too, where I'm realizing that all this anger and all these triggers and all this trauma is just a signs of things that I need to heal, but also I need to tell the world, because what I see as my perception is also what you guys see through me. And this is also another thing where inner work is so hard and deep, and decolonization. When I say decolonization and going and getting more closer to consciousness, this is hard work. This is why it's not everybody who wants to do that. Not everybody's going to be in the awakening. Not everybody's going to be awake, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try, right? By any means, try, because Earth is going to be here. All animals there will reborn again. Everything will be here. We are not. If Earth decides, you know what, I'm just going to put a bunch of volcano and shut you all up, what are you going to do? Yeah. If the ocean decide, you know what, too hot right now, need to cool it down, let's sink all the continents, what are you going to do? Yeah. This is what is asking of us, all of us, but especially the 1% billionaires and people who are continue polluting, who make lots and lots of money last year when we're supposed to be in a war, when we're in a war pandemic, right? So I'm asking, whoever is listening, is that yes, we are struggling. Yes, we are building some serious resilient strength, inner strength right now, while also going through, some of us, screwed up and crazy stuff and dealing with psychopath leaders and just horrible with children. And, that's it. I've decided, let's decide that we're not going to let them kill our joy, even though we know we're a slave to this bullshit. But our hope and joy, nobody can take that away from us. And that's something we need to learn from indigenous communities, how they have, even though everything they have lost, everything, communities, everything has been stripped from them, and us too, Black communities, African descent, Haitians, we've been stripped everything from us, everything. And we still think that white supremacy and racism and all this bullshit, it's not like it doesn't happen. Jesus, check your privilege, por Dios. Go within. If you're able to help someone anywhere you can, just do it. You don't need comparison. You need to see, okay, all the other people are doing it, so let me do it. No, just if it comes from your heart, if it comes from your gut, that something's telling you. Because somehow, somewhere, you need to understand we are all connected, whether you like it or not. And we are all energy, a form energy that is connected to the universe, to God, to everything. We just have all this external crap distracting us from what we really need to be focusing on. And right now, we're being used to help those who are praying right now, who need help. And the fact that if you're able to, and it comes from you, don't ignore that sign. That means that you're supposed to help that person. And I'm telling you, the rewards is much bigger than money. Money doesn't matter. What you feel inside and the happiness that you feel inside when you know somebody else that you helped because of you, because they're able to live another day because of you, that's priceless. You can't put up money to that. So remember that. Okay? Sorry, I'm being emotional because I'm feeling all my feelings today. Especially when I went to pick up my daughter yesterday in the school and her light was off. My little girl, a 5-year-old light, her beautiful bright light and happiness and all these things was off outside when she came out of the school. And she wouldn't talk about it. She wouldn't say anything about it, And it made me think, man, is that what this city wants? Is that what this world wants? Children like this? You stripped everything from them just like you did with us, with any people of color? It's not right. It's not right. And that's why I write in the blog today, Decolonize Everything and get closer to consciousness, because we have to. And thinking that racism and white supremacy is not in pharmaceutical or in the science department, you're highly mistaken. And this is why another thing that it's not just let government or people monitor. It's us, the people, but we need to monitor these vaccines and what they've done. Because we don't know what they've done to rush this and to get into, okay, let's get this over with. It's going to be fine. And this is where capitalism ruins everything. And you start, doing inner work, shadow work, and working on things to, dismantle, decolonize. There's something that I said in Friday's video that I was like, no, you don't really still have the bias for. So let me explain myself what I meant about that. I said that if by working on decolonizing, on dismantling the system and how it's super unjust and unequal and stuff like that, but once we start doing anti-discrimination and anti-racism education on ourselves and start showing other people as well, you still have to continue working on your bias, right? But once you work on your consciousness or be more present on the now, you really let it go. It's not something that you think about. It's something that you already do naturally, right? Anti-racist, you know what I mean? But as a practice, right? Because it's something that as you are aware of it, you start dismantling it. That's the whole point, is that once you become aware there is racism, there is discrimination. Once you become aware and not just look at it as it affects you only and only yourself. No, I'm talking about when you look at it, when you put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Yes, thinking not just about yourself. That's called empathy and kindness. It's not something that we have naturally, but we somehow have lost it. And I don't know how we have done that, because that's one of the most beautiful things that we have and that we can use as our superpower to overcome horrible injustice right now and things that are not normal, but we are just letting it, we're just conforming. And that's not right. We have to speak. We have to use our voice. We have to fight for our rights. Okay? We can't just let it just, okay, the government says so. Okay. No, they're humans too. They make mistakes too. And we know the history of those many mistakes. How much does it cost too? Right? It costs a lot of lives. So, yeah. So what I was trying to say is that once you become aware of all of these things that are not okay on this planet, on this system, and it's obviously us, right? Like, we have to dig internally. And that's what consciousness is so important right now, to work on that. Yes, it's hard to work, and as I know, as essential workers, it's really hard to work and then do the inner work, and then because you're so tired. But there is time. You gotta find somehow some time for yourself, for you to educate yourself and update yourself, and not only from the outside. I'm talking about internally, because we shift, we change every single day. Honestly, our cells, everything, we are evolving. And remember, we're evolving. We did a whole year, and it was very traumatic. A whole year. Working from home, so many horrible things, traumatic experiences that happen. I encourage everyone, like, this is enough with shaming and putting people down about therapy, okay? Or people working or dealing with a mental illness. Like, it's enough, okay? We are not robots, and if we're trying to be and trying to embrace AI with a fucking robot, then good for you. Go do you, okay? But right now, humanity needs help, and Earth too, because we are living on Earth. AI is just created by egocentric, massive, wealthy assholes, whatever. People who, hey, you're not comfortable with just being and creating things that, can enhance human psyche. Like, I don't know what a robot, like, I don't know. I just don't find, okay, robots great. Like, I don't know. I think we've done enough, and then going above that, that's when we go over the greedy part that we're trying to dismantle, right? Remember, this year we're trying to get off that. Like, stop with the greedy, massive selfishness, literally, with everything, consumption, anything in your life, like seriously. And I'm doing this for myself. I'm talking to myself too. Like, I don't think that I'm just, no. I am challenging myself every single day to do this. Okay, so I'm like, okay, if I'm able to do it, then maybe I can show some people and they could do it too, or try it. If not, it's cool. Do your thing. It's fine. This bothers you, this trigger you, then ask yourself why, or just, that's it. Bye. But embrace the fact that if you're uncomfortable, there's something that triggers you that you need to work on, that you need to heal, that you need to understand and see, listen to understand. Okay? Anyways, become aware of things, but also don't let it consume you. Don't attach to it. Because if you do, then it creates this mental slavery that is already created and manipulated and used in advertising, social media. So be careful with this, okay? We're not their puppets. Yes, we use this, but we can use it in a sustainable and conscious way. We don't need to do it the way that they want. And that thing that's going around, oh, what time you should post on social media, and use social media as your last thing to do, Or some people do it let's say you have a lot to do and you want to, because that's something that it works for you if you're consistent with social media. But don't do it in a way that it takes your whole day. Like, you can do 1 or 2 posts one day and then one story. And that's it, you're good to go. From experience, because I used to just I need to support it. It was like a necessity that I needed to help other people through social media. And it turns out that I was draining and exhausting myself. But at the end, it wasn't that bad because I helped a lot of people, but I ended up not really helping myself. So now I'm trying to get back up while other people are doing okay, which is good. I'm happy with them. I'm happy for them. And I feel amazing. I'm really exhausted, but I'm having more energy and more things, more purpose now. And I'm kind of excited and happy to share that with everybody. But other than that, I'm more intentional. I'm more, because there's a lot of things that I'm doing, a lot of things I'm creating, and I want to create it with other people too. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things being cut off, especially for a woman of color, and living in a city where white supremacy and racism is the main focus here. And it sucks. Capitalism here, it thrives here, and it's just horrible. And honestly, I was thinking the other day, and I was telling that to my best friend, that I don't hate Quebec. I do not like the city or the people. I don't like their leadership. I don't like the person who is right now the prime minister. He is just ignorant and just a sack of shit. Just like any other people also living in, those who living in the UK, you're not happy right now, right? Those who living in the States right now, USA, look at this. That's all these white guys, fucking old, disgusting, right? So that's another thing that I wanted to, the reason of this anger, and I know that there's a lot of things that trigger me now, and when I go on Facebook, which is why I'm limiting my consumption, is that the leadership, it's not the people. The system is controlled and manipulated by people like our leaderships in each of our countries, and their leadership sucks. And they embrace the capitalism and all that crap. And as long as that continues, then that's what we're just going to continue, the roller coaster of madness, insanity, right? And it just continues spreading with social media. So that's something that, I'm kind of mindful and letting you know that I'm aware. So if you're aware, great. Keep doing your thing and you know what's up. If you're not aware and this triggers you, I don't know what to say to you other than everyone has their opinion. Everyone has their own. And if you don't believe me, go search it yourself. And that has nothing to do, with me. All right. Other than that, if I am wrong, do correct me, show me facts, show me proof, and I will correct that, because I'm not perfect and I'm not this. I'm just here being the messenger that, God, as a creative, I feel this path where I want to show the world that there is a possibility for sustainability. There is possibility for equity and a just world.
And I'm just following that guide, and I'm just gonna go for it. And that's it. Whoever wants to join and go for it, then let's go. Let's do it together and build brands and help other people, those who are voiceless. There, circular economy, that's a possibility. It is. And I'm going to show you with my team how it can be possible. All right. But until then, don't worry. It's coming. For now, thank you so much for listening, for supporting us, for being here. Just keep doing the inner work, shadow work, go to therapy. Therapy will help you so much, especially that year that we just went through. It will be amazing to start your year with a clear focus head and not clutter and so much hate and so much stuff that we went through, traumatic experiences we went through social media. There's two kinds of people right now that's going to flourish because of this pandemic, right? There's the ones that believe in this separatism and that the system is all there is, that everything have to be that way, that I can't wait to go back to normal kind of people. And then there's the other people where they are aware of everything. They're conscious. And they know that their actions can create either an impact or create discomfort, right? But they're using their discomfort as a way to create an impact. For example, those who are in the anti-racism education, those who are doing decolonization, those who are voicing about what really is going on behind the health and all the bias, we're here to get deeper into decolonization and get back into consciousness the best way we can. And do it completely imperfectly, because we're humans and we're not perfect, and this is not rooted in capitalism crap mindset. So if you come from that and you're thinking that you're just going to continue that, and this is not the place. Here we are using divine timing, we are patient with each other, we are compassionate towards each other and towards ourselves and other people. We're going to use compassion and empathy all the way and do it completely imperfectly, but also help communities who need us the most right now. Another thing that I want to talk about is that, I mentioned in the other podcast before, but I'm going to bring it up here since we're talking about decolonization and, dismantling in a nice, kind way. I think it's kinder when you ask people, especially people of color, to do work for you and you pay them accordingly. You cannot ask volunteer work or ask people to do work for you and you don't pay them. That is just creating inequality. You're embracing inequality. Whoever company is doing this, please, don't do this. You have other people that can afford to survive during a world pandemic and they can work for you for free, then go ahead and ask them if you know them. But do not ask a person of color or any woman or any creative right now to do work for you voluntarily for free. That is just insulting. Don't insult us like that. We're not something that, no, we're completely the same as your white people friends. Okay? It's just that your white people friends have, better opportunities, have maybe parents or people who are wealthy, who can afford to pay their apartments and pay all their bills, and they're able to work from home or whatever it is that they call work. We don't really know. And that's it. Those people? Reach them. I'm sure they could help you because they already got mommy and daddy paying for all their bills. That's it. Don't ask people who are literally struggling and trying to survive, we don't have, a lot of us don't have wealthy families that pay our bills, that pay everything for us, right? And it's a huge privilege when you do, it's like, wow, amazing, thank you, but still doesn't mean we're not all struggling. So don't ask people to work for free for you during a world pandemic, okay? Thank you. Kindly, thank you. Point that I wanted to make that I spoke on the blog as well about race, diverse data matters. It matters a lot.
And I wanted to talk about recently Terry Linder's is a great entrepreneur, and he's been speaking about what's going on in Quebec. So I invite you guys all to check out his newest live that he did recently, and listen into the end. It's actually very, very good, insightful. He provides solutions. He honestly, I think he should be the next prime minister. Just saying, but hey, putting it out there in the universe. Sorry, Terry. Also, he started this beautiful initiative. It's called Colors of COVID, where they collect actually race data, and actually, you know, it is made for the people and is used by the people, and it gives a very beautiful way of understanding and seeing how COVID-19 has affected the more marginalized and BIPOC communities. So I invite you all to take that mini survey, especially if you live in Canada, and, you know, include yourself in that data, because race data does matter. You know, and that's another thing. That's their excuse for the vaccine, is that they don't have enough money for the research. They don't have enough resource. They don't have, you know, anything for BIPOC. It's just they don't have enough, right? But for other things, white supremacy, discrimination, and all this bullshit capitalist crap, of course we have the money, right? We fund it, right? Yeah. So I just think that is a great application to get more involved and really share and spread it out there that collecting diverse data actually matters and can help a lot with further medical situation, further policies, you know, government policy, things like that are important, that matter not just some of us but all of us, right? So I believe that is a great way to start initiating the equity education or equity mindset, which we all need to be doing, and especially also circular economy. That's another one where we really have to shift, especially if we are planning to stay on this planet much longer than 7 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 7 years if we don't lower our CO2. Like it's just like COVID-19. We don't know what's gonna happen, but we're living it, right? Well, climate change is different than what we're like. This is comfortable. COVID-19 is being harsh, yes, wiping us out because we are selfish creatures and we don't follow guidelines, obviously, and also we have horrible leaders. We all know. I mean, some of the planet of the world actually doesn't have bad leaders, and congratulations for them. Like, wow, God bless. And, you know, the older leaders should learn from them. But again, it's ego, it's selfishness, massive greed, it's a sickness. And all these older people, leaders, have it. And they can have it because it's okay. They have money. They're wealthy, right? They don't care about whatever. Their bills are paid. They get their paycheck every week or every whatever. Like, it's not, you know, and that's what privilege, this capitalist system, these systems created this mentality. And now it's a normal thing when we know it's not normal. We shouldn't go back to normal. It's an insult when people say that. Please stop saying that. It's insulting. What the hell? What was normal for you? Really? This was normal for you? Ask yourself that question. Really? This is normal for you? Before the COVID-19, that was normal for you? Then damn. We got work to do. And we know we got work to do. It's just hard. But guess what? It's even harder when you do it by yourself. So I'm inviting you guys, everyone, while you listen to the podcast, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be sharing those insights here and with other people. I'm trying to reach other people, but it's also kind of hard because they're also dealing with their own situation, their own problems, their own financial struggle, their own thing. And, you know, finding time between that is crazy, and I completely understand. But I know it's going to happen, right? We're going to have people here talking, but also on Writers CF, on Medium. We're going to have more writing. That's what I'm working on, including other writers and other people there. And and the website is almost done. This migration is just taking me forever, but it's literally almost done. It's ready to go, and I can't wait to show you guys. It's gonna be great, and I hope this space that I've created, brings you joy, and it keeps you, thinking about more circular economy, thinking about having a sustainable lifestyle, but one that is affordable for you. Think creatively while you're going through adversity, dig in, do inner work, be more a conscious creative, okay? So that's what I'll be working on, and I can't wait for you guys to be part of it. Other than that, thank you so much for being here, for supporting this space, for listening, and it's going to be okay, all right? We're going to be okay, but we have to do this together for real. Okay? Reach out to other people. Right now, people are having so much mental problems, and it's financial stress it's just too much. And it's nice when you just send a message or have a nice send a call or I don't know, anything to those people who are extremely quiet that you haven't heard in a while. And even if they don't answer, don't take it personally. It's just, everyone has moved on in their life. But kindness has a beautiful ripple effect. And if you use it on a daily basis, you'll see that magic does exist. And I see it all the time. Because when you work on that, working on that pure heart, but pure heart's not only just pure, because we all come with this anger and it just happens when we're in childhood and stuff. But if we nurture that side of us too, that anger, and understand it and see how can we help it when we couldn't help it that time, and how can we let go of the past, the attachment, because that's also gets you sick, and then move and be okay with the present and understand, be happy with what you have. And then, and visualize. It's okay to visualize the future, but remember that not to stay too long in the visualization, because that creates this future, and then it creates this anxiety and depression. And trust me, I'm talking from experience. So, but then again, it's my experience. I'm not saying that you may feel this way. Everyone goes through mental illness completely different. But in a way, the storm that we all go through, it's very, very similar, right? So some tricks might work for me, some other tricks might not work for you, right? So you also this is why it helps to do inner work, because when you do meditation, when you do all these things, you start finding ways of how to heal yourself, how to go deeper, and how to be okay with just being you, and not comparison, no judgment, none of that stuff, okay? So, that's it. Just focus on your joy, be kind to others, help those who are voiceless as much as you can, and, be that beacon of light, because we definitely all need that, Be your own beacon of light, and then spread it to the world when you can. No need to rush, or when you need to turn off everything for real, okay? And listen to that gut, listen to your heart, and we're going to be okay, all right? And that's it. Be kind to your planet. And when I say being kind to your planet now, I'm saying you got to be kind to you, and you got to be kind to others, because the planet has been through much, 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 much worse than us, and it's still standing. And it's still being beautiful, and it's still here showing us that we are magic, just like the planet. We have to believe, and even through the adversity, we have to keep believing that there's more than this, that the divine timing, it's not gonna give us everything that we want just in one shot. It takes time, okay? Takes divine timing, because that way we appreciate it more. We appreciate what we have,
more. Unfortunately, we human creatures learn the hard way. But that's what builds resilience and inner strength. And that's okay. All right. Bye. Hope you have a great weekend. And I'll see you next podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye.